Hello, and welcome to In Case You Missed It, Black Audacity Style. We will bring you up to speed today on last week's news and hot topics that you may have missed. I'm Lawanda Morris, CEO of Black Audacity Magazine, and your host for this evening. Now, today we will be discussing how Dr. Dre is doing after suffering 3 strokes. We'll talk about more on recent Biden executive order supporting women's health. We'll discuss how Americans are losing their minds surrounding the looming social media cases. We'll talk about how junk food and processed foods affect our body, the NFL free agency, and so much more. So pour yourself a drink, grab a snack, and let's get into it. In political news, like I told you last week, Congress did avoid yet another potential government shutdown last Friday. However, it might mean that Speaker Mike Johnson might meet the same fate as the last Republican Speaker, Kevin McCarthy, as his party, the extreme parts of his party, upset that he worked with the Democrats to avoid a government shutdown, are now looking to oust him as well. Now, Johnson is certainly not one of my favorite politicians. That's for sure. But this is insane. Republicans can't keep a Speaker of the House long enough to get much done at all. All I can say is remember all of this, people, when you go to the polls this November, hashtag vote or die. Also, in political news, and just in time for Women's History Month, President Joe Biden announces key executive action to advance the federal government's research in women's health. Studies have focused on just the health of men for far too long, literally far too long. And I'm so happy to hear that President Biden has launched a multi-million-dollar initiative ordering federal agencies to collect more data on women's health conditions, including heart disease, menopause, and arthritis. Also adding $200 million to the fund to fund new research. Biden is also talking to Congress to approve a $12 billion with the B dollars in funding for women's health as well. So while his competition, Donald Trump, is a threat to women's health, I hope you also keep all of this in mind as you go to the polls to vote this November. I'll say it again, hashtag vote or die. Now, on to sports news. Today, we'll discuss the NFL free agency situation, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah, we're just going to jump right into the Atlanta Falcons, the bad. Take a breath, Falcons fans. Getting Kirk Cousins could turn out to be really great for the Falcons, but in the excitement over the move, Yahoo News has reported that perhaps the risk was ignored. They went on to say that Cousins will be 36 years old this coming season, and he is coming off of a major Achilles tendon injury. So his mobility won't be as it normally is during this recovery, even if Cousins hadn't hurt himself. At 36 years old, anyone other than Tom Brady performing at peak performance is usually not what happens when they're on the field after the age of 36, unless you're Tom Brady. Of course, he is a freak of nature. So we'll have to wait and see how Cousins does in this upcoming season for the Atlanta Falcons. What we do know is that they got him for a 4-year deal, $180 million deal. It is still a gamble, and the Falcons still badly need a pass rusher as well. So maybe they can solve that in the draft or during the rest of the free agency. So I agree with Yahoo News that realistically, the entire offseason hinges on how good Cousins looks off that Achilles injury. Only time will tell. All I can say is good luck, Cousins, and good luck, Atlanta Falcons. In health news, NPR reports that from anxiety to cancer, the evidence against ultra processed food is piling up. Americans consume more than 50% of their daily calories from ultra processed foods. First of all, let that sink in. That's a very scary thought. Secondly, there is increasing evidence that eating too many of these processed foods can make us all sick. Now, the British Medical Journal published a study that found that people who consume high amounts of these foods have an increased risk of everything from anxiety to depression, obesity, metabolic syndrome, as well as certain cancers, including colon cancer and premature death as well. So the data comes from more than 9 million people who participated in dozens of studies, which researchers then analyzed as part of an umbrella review. The author of the study, Melissa Lane, stated that taking the body of literature as a whole, there was consistent evidence that regularly eating high compared to low amounts of ultra-processed foods was linked to these adverse health outcomes. So, what's the takeaway from all of this? Eat less ultra-processed foods. In celebrity news, Dr. Dre, whose real name is Andrew Young, was an original member of NWA and is a music producer and entrepreneur. Now, he has produced some of the biggest names in hip hop, including Snoop Dogg, Eminem, The Game, and Kendrick Lamar. And as we all know, he created the beats, which made him a billionaire. He says he suffered 3 strokes while hospitalized for 2 weeks for a brain aneurysm. In an interview on Sirius XM's This Life of Mine with James Corden, Dr. Dre, who was 59 years old, spoke about what happened when he was hospitalized those 3 years ago. He was candid about how his condition really worsened after he was hospitalized for pain he was feeling behind his right ear. He said during the interview, "Next thing you know, I'm blacking out, I'm in and out of consciousness, and I ended up in the ICU. I was there for 2 weeks," Dr. Dre said. He also said, "I'm hearing doctors coming in and out, and you don't know how lucky you are. I'm lifting weights, I'm running, I'm doing everything I can to keep myself healthy." And he said to himself, would that have prevented it if he worked out a little bit harder or ate different or something like that? It's like, no, it's hereditary, he said. But fast forward to today, Dr. Dre is doing great and has made an amazing recovery, which we are so happy about. The Grammy Award-winning artist and producer was also recently honored with a Hollywood Walk of Fame star, which we are also happy about. Congratulations, Dr. Dre, on all accounts. We're so thankful that you're still with us and that you're doing great. And in breaking news, according to AP News, the Supreme Court seems favorable to the Biden administration over a dispute with Republican-led states regarding how far the federal government can go to combat controversial social media posts on topics such as COVID-19. Remember that disaster during the Trump administration? As well as regarding things like election security in a case that could set standards for free speech for all of us in the digital age. Now, the justices seemed generally skeptical during nearly 2 hours of arguments that a lawyer for Louisiana, Missouri, and other Republican-led states presented, accusing officials in the Democratic administration of leaning on social media platforms to unconstitutionally quiet conservative viewpoints. Now, like I mentioned this last week, and I said I thought it was absurd then, and I think it's absurd now. I hope AP is right, and that the Supreme Court will favor the Biden administration in this case. But I guess we'll have to wait and see, put a pin in it. We'll keep you posted on how this one turns out. Well, that's all for now. I hope you have enjoyed today's segment of In Case You Missed It, Black Audacity Style. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like, and turn on those notifications so that you can see more Black Audacity Magazine YouTube content show up in your feed. I'll see you back here next week, same time, same place. I'm LaWanda Morris, CEO of Black Audacity Magazine, and we are unapologetically and unambiguously Black Audacity. Stick around for a brief word on our sponsors. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much to our sponsor, El Demi. El Demi is your new way of living your whole entire Best Life, your new luxury lifestyle brand. From a healthy body to glowing skin, Eldami has what you need to get your beauty on track on the inside and out, including getting your best body back before summer arrives by visiting www.eldami.com. That's eldami.com, where you'll find everything you need to do just that. Eldami, your new luxury lifestyle.